Hey, what is up guys? It's been a while since we last did a Vanguard video. It's also been a while since we last did a deck profile. So I figure I might as well do both right in this particular video here. So we have my Diablo deck profile for Shadow Paladins. And yeah, this deck hasn't particularly been gaining any support or anything like that. I just wanted to show off how I build my deck and what works for me and everything like that, just so that people would be a little more refreshed with this particular deck here. So right now Luard and even Revengers have been getting more attention than Diablo, so I figure let's actually put this out there as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for our starting Vanguard, we are playing Full Bow Diablo. This card is specific for a particular combo that I might be making a combo video for, but this card was more important than the actual starter from the Legend deck, so I figured I might as well play this instead. It has no cost, so it's really good. I might even bump it up to a second copy or a third copy in this deck, because it's just really that good. Obviously, for our grade 3, we are going to be playing 4 of the Blaster Dark Diablo. This is obviously your main grade 3, you want to be riding into him, and I've seen people mix it in with Luard, but I'm not too big of a fan of mixing those two. I feel that they will do a lot better in a separate deck and everything like that. So this one's more focused on just riding into our Diablo. We are also playing 2 of the Vortimer Diablo, because this card could be like our backup. If we don't draw into Blaster Dark Diablo, we can always ride into this as well. But overall, we do want to ride into the Blaster Dark Diablo and use this just as a stride fodder. For the last 2 grade 3s, we are playing 2 Death Spray Dragon. This card is just a great way to extend your combos and retire more of your opponent's field and everything like that. So I'll be using him in a specific combo as well, that's actually together with Full Bow Diablo, so this will be really cool. For grade 2s, I'm playing 3 of the Blockchain Flame Dance Formation Hoel. This card is a really good card. I've been thinking about bumping him up to 4, because of how good it actually is. I actually don't know why I still have it at 3, but I'll probably take out one of the Vortimers or one of the Death Spray Dragons, but definitely a good card to be playing, and I either recommend you play 3 or more, no less. For the other one, we also are playing Dark Knight Maiden Marker. She's a great card. She is a counterblast, of course, but unfortunately, she is a counterblast, but she is still a really good card to just call a grade 1 from your deck, so I just think it's really good. Then we are playing 3 Dark Saga Painter. This card is counted as a grade 1 in the deck, so you can always call her out with the marker, and obviously any of your other Shadow Paladins that might have effects that can call out a grade 1. So she's just really good, but her first effect, GB1, is a mandatory effect, so do keep in mind that if you get her out on the board, you will have to draw a card and then discard a card. For the last grade 2, we are playing the Blaster Dark Spirit. I might bump this up to 2 as well, because sometimes I end up drawing him and he is specific for a combo, so it's quite unfortunate that I end up drawing it at times, but yeah, this card is a really good card. It's a grade 2 of 10,000 with an actual skill, which allows you to retire one of your opponent's rearguards in the front row with a grade of 2 or less. Alright, so moving on to grade 1s, we are still playing the playset of Little Skull Witch Nemane. I still think this card is a good card, and its skill is not too bad. If you use her as a perfect card and you already have another one in the drop zone, draw a card and discard it. So definitely not a bad card. It is a mandatory skill, of course, or mandatory condition that you have to draw a card and discard. But overall, I still think she's a really amazing card that's well worth playing. She's cheaper than Karma Collector, so you really don't have to put out that much money into building this particular deck. Then we are playing 4 copies of Sharon. She's just your Blaster Dark Searcher. She also acts as a retire fodder, as she counts as 2 units instead of 1, so she's definitely a really good card to play. Then we're playing 3 copies of Kahedin. Although I recommended you play 4 copies of Hoel, You don't necessarily need to play 4 of Kahiden. It's up to you whether or not you want to play 3 or 4 or maybe even 2, but just a great card to really combo off with the Hoel to boost up your Vanguard's attack. Then we are also playing 2 of the Blackwing Swordbreaker, just a great card to help you draw more cards from your deck. I mean, it is Shadow Paladins, so you kind of expect that to happen. We're also playing the Darkheart Trumpeter. We're only playing 1 of it, and I feel like it does Soul Blast, so I don't want to Soul Blast too much since we already have the Blackwing Swordbreaker, so it's up to you to adjust these ratios however you want. But I'm just sticking to 1 of these. I think it's good enough. Now, moving on to triggers, we are obviously going to be playing our 4 heal triggers here. Flat Bow. Now, I do recommend you play Jalido if you can get it, which is the one from the Fighters Collection 2017. But unfortunately, I don't have her right now, and she is a pretty difficult card to get because a lot of people are constantly looking for her. We are also playing a few critical triggers, so we have Revenger, Undead Angel, and we also have cards like Leaping Knight, League 1 Lumina. It's just the cards from the actual Legend deck, so I'm just playing them in. But I'm not playing any draw triggers because I am actually choosing to play these stand triggers here. It counts as 2 units when you're tributing or retiring it for your specific skill. And also when it's retired, you can also shuffle it back into the deck, which I think it's really cool. Alright, so on to the G-Zone. I'm playing 4 of the Phantom Blaster Diablo. This card is still one of the greatest cards ever, as it obviously can end games, but now that G-Guards are a thing, it is obviously more difficult to pull that off now. We're also playing 2 of the Spectral Blaster Diablo. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to flip itself over just like the Phantom Blaster Diablo. You can flip other G-Zone units, which is why I'm only playing 2. And I rarely use its effect or skill because it does have a big cost, and it's a lot worse than Phantom Blaster Diablo. We're also playing 2 of the Aura Geyser Dragon. I feel like it's a great card to just start off to get you off with GB2. That way on your next turn, if you have anything with GB3, for example Spectral Blaster Diablo, you could go for that as well. So I think this is definitely a great card. And since it flips itself over as well, you can also activate GB8 a lot faster. So a lot of these cards here are really great to do that. Speaking of the GB8, we're also playing the E-Grand Vert, which is obviously our GB8 card. We are playing 1 of them. Rarely will we ever go into it. We usually finish the game off with the Phantom Blaster Diablo, but obviously that's not always the case now, so I always have the GB8 there as a spare boss monster. We're also playing 1 Drag Anger Ogma. I felt that this card was a pretty cool card. It still works pretty well. And you could either get rid of cards in your opponent's rear circle or their hand. So I think definitely a card worth playing 1 of. We're also playing the Dark Dragon, Carnivore Dragon. Again, just a really simple card. You could get rid of your opponent's stuff as well. So it's the whole focus of the deck. We are playing 1 of the Seabreeze because, again, we have people out there who's trying to grade lock you, and I feel like it's a good way to punish them with the Seabreeze that we have. Now, for the last G-Zone unit, aside from G-Guardians, which we'll go over after, the last one is obviously Aura Geyser Doomed. If you guys can get a copy of those, definitely put another one in there. Otherwise, you can put in any other Shadow Paladin G units you want, because obviously Aura Geyser Doomed is still a very expensive card, sitting at around $50. So if you guys can get one, then by all means go ahead and put it into this deck. But otherwise, I definitely don't think you necessarily need to force yourself to get it. And obviously, when you put it in, you would probably want to take out the Carnivore Dragon and add in a 3rd copy of Aura Geyser Dragon. So with the G Guardians, we are playing 2 of the Plotmaker Dragons. I think 2 is more than enough. We'll eventually be getting a lot more better G Guardians soon, so I figure having 2 is more than enough for me. We're still playing the one Ludwig. It's a good card because obviously we can call one of our grade 0 or grade 1s. Yes, it's grade 1 or less rear guards to the guard circle, so I feel like it's a really good card and it's a lot more flexible than the Plot Maker. Of course, Plot Maker is still great because Ritual 3 is still really easy to accomplish. And then to end things off, we're playing the Dragweiser Bronarch. I felt like I'm just going to put this here as these two are really just fillers until we get better Shadow Paladin G Guardians. Once we do, then we won't need to play these cards. But I just put them in as part of fillers for now, and it's been working out pretty fine for me. I really only use the 2 Plot Makers in the game before I finish off the opponent. So yeah, that's basically it for the deck profile. I hope you guys actually enjoyed this because it's been a while since I last put out a Vanguard video, let alone a deck profile video. So I figured this would be the perfect start for that because this is one of my most favorite decks for Vanguard. Diablo is just a lot more cool than the other Shadow Paladin decks, as well as the other decks in general for Vanguard. And it's just not getting enough attention, so I figure I might as well put this out. If you guys want to see a combo video, then definitely tell me in the comment section down below and I might make a video on that. But for now, hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.
Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you